Fuck it, let's go.
Yeah, we're on.
Turns out we're fucking going.
We're on. Okay, so you went from my page as well.
Yep. So if you refresh your page, you should be able to see yourself. What's up, peeps? Welcome to Heightened and Enlightened. It says we are live on all platforms.
Hey, everybody.
Let's see if I can find us. Hey, there we are.
I got to us.
Yep.
Okay, we're on. What's up, peeps? What's up, peeps? Y'all come on in. Come on in. Say what's up as you're popping on. Let us know that you're here. You guys already know we're about to get into it tonight.
Right. Why I can't
just straighten myself out here.
And I'm over here.
Something that's always been hard for me to do.
We got stuff on my tablet.
Let's see. Let's get ourselves. I'm about to get us shared out to somewhere else. I just don't know where yet.
There we go. Okay.
Can you hear Tug in the background?
Yeah, we can now.
I can. Yeah, it's fine. Let's see if it lets me see our viewers here.
Oops. No.
What's up, y'all? If you guys are just popping on, make sure that you say hello. Let us know that you're here. Let us know that you can hear us and you can see us. Hey, D, what's up, girl? Welcome, welcome.
I think my tablet is just moving slow. Okay, there we go. All right.
You got
in
it?
there now. In there. Okay, yeah. Hello, everybody.
Let me see if maybe it's my audio.
Put it on speaker if you can't hear us fully. You know how you have the options?
Maybe it's my audio. Boom.
Put it on speaker if you can't hear us fully.
Oh, boom. There it is. And it's fixed.
You got it?
Oh, there we go.
Good.
Hey, Shannon. What's up, y'all? Welcome, welcome. Y'all come on in here. Y'all already know what time it is. It is 6 p.m. on Sunday. We're about to get into some fun topics tonight. This is a little bit lighter topic for some, maybe a little bit rougher for the ones who can't hold themselves accountable or don't want to. You know, it's all about how you live in life.
Right.
But Shay, I think you can go ahead and take us away. I got us all shared out. I know you guys are shared out. Let's do this.
Okay, well, that works. So officially, you guys, welcome to Heightened and Enlightened, the live show. I am Shay, you have Ashley, and we have Rolo. We are your hosts. And tonight we are going to be talking about a whole lot. So last week, just to kind of recap and refresh, we talked about incarceration and the family dynamic. And, you know, if you've been incarcerated or if you've dealt with people being incarcerated, you know, kind of what that looks like. This week, we get into something, and this is one of my personal favorites. We're going to be talking about accountability and what that looks like. Personally, a person who is accountable is like, or let me say this, a person who is unaccountable is my number one pet peeve. I cannot stand a person who cannot admit their faults, because none of us are perfect. We all go through stuff, and we all have the potential to change if we choose to. So accountability is big, y'all. And I want to start it off with jump back into the question of the day that I did on Wednesday, y'all. And that was interesting. So y'all in the comments, y'all can, you know, comment on this, answer this too. But Ashley, Rolo, since I got y'all up here, let's get into it.
Don't ask me no questions. Don't ask me no questions.
Who do y'all think overall out of the sexes, who's more accountable overall, generally speaking?
Women
or men?
That's easy. Women. That's easy. Come on now.
True. It's definitely men.
I'm gonna have to sway in with Rolo, my opinion. I think men, and I'm gonna say that even as a woman, because I've been raised around so many guys.
The
Men
kids
are
don't
more
even like
accountable.
talking to men. The hell?
Yes, they do. My
I
kids
love
would rather
talking to
talk to
men.
me.
I love talking to men because men will hold you to the fire right then and there. Now I'm gonna say we're talking about from someone who is trying to be, a healed version, because we
Right.
do have unhealed versions of male and female who cannot be accountable. But I feel
Right.
like when it comes to a healed woman and a man is gonna be more open and upfront with you and be accountable not only with the things that he sees you doing, but himself as well. Because I know a lot of men who will let you know, like, all right, I messed up. I'm this time I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna go forward. But I have seen that it's harder for women to do that.
Big facts.
So
That's why
So
I say
wait,
I'm just
what?
gonna get on. That's why I say I'm just gonna get on here tonight and be quiet because I don't want to hear it.
Yeah,
you
nah, we
can't
ain't
just
even
do that. You
ain't
can't
gonna do
just do
none of
that.
that.
I just want
So
y'all to
wait,
know this topic was not one of my favorite for me, because I mean, I guess you guys can say all day that men are more accountable, but I guess I don't know. Maybe the men I have seen in my life are not accountable, and
there
so
you
maybe
go.
it's not all men because I don't believe that all men are the same. Let's get that understood right now.
Yeah,
But I also don't think that men are more accountable than women just because they're just not.
that's not a real answer.
They're just not.
That's
There's
not a
not.
real answer.
Whatever. I'll let
How
you guys
you,
just go ahead and keep
how you gonna
talking.
get mad at me? I'm
Really.
just saying that right there shows the accountability right there. Because see, like if I'm wrong, I have no problem saying that I'm wrong. There's nothing wrong. I can't be right all the time. You know what I mean?
Man.
Mm, Rolo,
But
me and you have had some pretty heated discussions, and you just be dead ass
uh,
wrong, and you still just keep going.
yeah, because that particular discussion, I'm right. There's just nothing else to be said about it.
Oh, wow. So how do you think you know what discussion we're talking about? Like there was only one.
There were several, but I think I know the one you're talking about in particular.
Hmm, well.
Monogamy versus polygamy.
Oh, so that conversation, hey, it is what it is. Live your best life. Live how you want to live. That's cool. I mean, but the way you were explaining it was just a little bit one sided. That's all.
Okay, maybe a little, but I also said that I can understand where you're coming from. You
Yeah,
know what I
Shannon
mean?
said, I need new men in my life. Then that's how I feel. Like, if, okay, so y'all for real, men or women, who's more accountable? Like, let's be for real. I
Men.
gotta change this, y'all, because it is too bright.
I cannot. I really say women. I still say women because I know so many women that, and I'm not even going to just say in relationships, but overall, like in life, I know so many women who have been catered to, coddled to, pacified, that even as older women, grown adults, those same women cannot be accountable. So I really will, I will still say men.
Yeah,
Men are more
definitely.
accountable. And
What
I
do
I feel
like,
y'all
like
think? What do
I
y'all
feel
think
like
in
yeah,
the
what do y'all
comments?
think? What do y'all think?
In
yeah.
the
Well,
comments, what do y'all think? Who's more accountable in life, men or women? Let's be real. I
I
want to see
I
what
say
they think because
I feel like women have a hard time being blamed or being held accountable for something that they did may have done wrong. You know what I mean? Because then they always like, to me, it seems like they're always like, yeah, I did do that, but it was because of you, like deflecting. No, it wasn't because of me.
see, no, and that's where I'm going to stop you because a lot of the times what men don't understand is it do be because of y'all, and so
Nah, see,
this is the thing. Hold on, and I'm good at taking accountability when I need to. Okay, but I will say that in situations like the ones you're talking about, Rolo, most women we come in with feelings. Okay, we come in naturally like, hey. It's a feeling. I'm wide open. I'm here. I'm whoever you need me to be. And then men do dumb stuff that make women kind of retract on who they are and in the relationship, and then y'all get mad because now we're this person that you didn't want us to be, but in reality you did that. This isn't who I was in the beginning, and you didn't take accountability for anything you did to get me to this point, and now you're upset at the woman I am.
well, I'm gonna say this: it takes a long time to create a woman like that. So the fact that you stayed knowing that means you're not being accountable for an action that you made.
I was just
You
about to
chose
say
that.
that.
You didn't have to stay. You could have left, but you didn't.
No, but women
Therefore,
are
it's
always trying to
just
see the
as
good in y'all. We want to see the best and the good in y'all. So we try to. So let me just say this: women fall in love with potential. Okay, they don't ever really fall in love with the man they see in front of them. It's usually like who they think this man could be. Like they see so much more than the man standing in front of them. And are you, Bree says, are you saying staying in relationships or just life and period? Either or.
Either
Either
or.
or. Yeah, either or. But Bree made me forget what I was talking about.
because it wasn't nothing. All, all I'm saying is,
No, but let me say this though, and then Ashley, this might jog your memory a little bit. But let me say this. At the end of the day, and this is what a lot of us forget, and I'm gonna say especially females, at the end of the day, yes, if you're, and we're going to only talk about relationships. Yes, a person can make you feel a way, but you're still responsible on how you act on those feelings, though. That's where the accountability comes in. Like, okay, this person did this to make me feel a way, but that still doesn't give you a right to do, A, B, C. You know what I'm saying? So that's where the accountability for me come in. And I feel like in a lot of relationship wise, in a lot of situations and circumstances, women make it okay to do A, B, and C when they shouldn't do A, B, and C. You know what I'm saying? They
What
use
are the
that.
examples?
Huh?
What is A, B, and C? What are the examples here?
Okay. Prime example. And okay, and I'm gonna just put this out there because this is something I've been through before in the past. So I gotta use myself. I gotta take
right.
accountability for my own actions. Example. Okay, back in the day, a lot of people have been through this, but I was cheated on. So for me, I chose to stay at that time. I mean, I helped raise a kid and everything. Like I chose to stay. That was my choice. Now, on the flip side, it did cause a lot of feelings. It caused a lot of insecurities. It even caused me to be curious of, like the streets and dive off into that. But the accountability comes in is saying that I still chose to do that even though I was hurt. That's what I mean by me taking accountability, saying, okay, well, yes, I was hurt, and yes, he cheated on me. But then in the same token, I chose to stay. I chose to get curious about why he was cheating on me. I chose to, my self-esteem drop. So I still let A, B, and I still, went through the A, B, and C. So for me, that's an example to where I feel like a lot of people don't take accountability. You have a choice. If somebody makes you feel away and you don't feel good about it, you can always walk away and leave. You don't have to match energy or fight fire with fire. The best thing has always been is to keep your peace. Back then I didn't know that, because back then any type of time he was on, I was on it too. Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you. That was my personality back then. But now it's like I'm not going through all that. Now I'm saving my peace, and now I'm grown enough to be accountable for my own actions and for the things that I do. So for me, that is just what I see. I see a lot of women, they use men's action as an excuse. You knew that dude was a dog when you got with him. So you can't be mad and say, oh, because he did this, I did that. We all know, you know what I'm saying? We all know.
That's a fact. And see, men are like that too, because I mean, I've been there before in a relationship that I knew I probably shouldn't have been in for a while. You know what I mean? And it was my fault that everything that had happened in my life up to the point I realized it was time for me to move out the way, that was all my fault. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody told me to stay. I made that choice for me. You know what I mean? Even though I knew it wasn't doing anything but hurting me mentally, you know what I mean? And I still made the choice to stay. So I can't blame her and be like, oh, it's your fault I'm the way I am. No, it's not. It's my fault because I knew this wasn't good for me and I continued to keep doing it. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So that's what I mean about that's what I mean when it comes to like accountability. Like, I can say wholeheartedly that it was solely my choice to stay in that situation, even though I knew it wasn't good for me. You know what I'm saying? And when I left, I never one time talked bad about this individual or never said anything negative, because for what? That only makes me look like a dumbass because nigga, you stayed with him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And see,
Like,
and I think that's like that's the point that I be trying to make. Like when it comes, I feel like when it comes to women, we're able to say, "Yeah, I was done for staying." But I feel like when men leave a relationship, and Rolo, like you said, like you didn't dog her out or whatever, but that's very rare that you hear that from a man, because most of the time when you get with a man, what they do is they talk bad on their ex, and they
yeah,
make it seem like she was the problem. They never really take accountability for their actions in that relationship, and it makes you think like, but why was she like that though?
right.
Like
And
what
and
makes
I
her like
agree with
that?
that. I agree with that 100% because that's the same. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that there were things that I did that caused her to be that way. You know what I'm saying? But
And so you that's why you left and you weren't talking bad about her because you understood the fact that there were things that you did that made her like that. Not a lot of men are like that. And that's why when I say men, I feel
Mhm.
like that's because a lot of the men, and I like my brother, my dad, I've grown up with a lot of men, my uncles, you know what I
right,
mean? And I've heard from both sides, like the accountability piece. And I've heard more women say, like I was dumb for staying. I should have left. Like I knew what he was doing and I accepted that and I still stayed. So anything that you went through from that point on, it was my fault. You know what I mean? Whereas
Mhm.
it's really hard to hear a man say, I did that and I broke her down to the point to where she wasn't the same woman that she was when I got with her, and take that accountability and know that she ain't like she was no more because you broke her down to nothing, and then
it's
you
a
decided
fact.
to change your ways and it was already too late.
Yep. And that's a fact. You know what I'm saying? Like, in most situations, especially when it comes to men and women in relationships, you'll typically hear the man be like, "Oh, she was tripping all the time," and blah 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 blah. But they never really express what it is that was causing her to trip like that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, hey, bro, if you staying gone overnight, shit, with no explanation, or you know what I'm saying, she go through your phone, which most women wouldn't go through your phone if they trusted you in the first damn place. But there's a reason why she don't trust you, so she going through your
Mhm.
phone, seeing your stuff. You know what I'm saying? So then you wonder why she cuckoo for cocoa puffs. Well, you set the stage. You know what I'm saying? Like, you led her in this direction, so now that she's following that direction, it's making you uncomfortable, and it should,
Yeah.
because you did that. You know what I mean? So stop doing that type of stuff, and you wouldn't have no reason in the world to have somebody tripping with you like that.
Yeah. So one thing that you said in that statement, and I've heard this many a times in my life, um, you went through my phone because you was looking for something. No, I went through your phone because of your actions in the past made me feel like I needed to go through your phone. And
Yeah,
now you're trying to flip it and spin it on me like I'm the messed up person because I
yeah,
went through your phone knowing what you put me through in the past. And so for me, like that's an accountability piece too for men. Like you guys, like I said, I do agree women sometimes are not accountable. I know a whole lot of women that still to this day at their old age refuse to hold themselves accountable. And it might not even be in relationships, like even like
just
being
in general.
in general, like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
hopping from job to job to job, and it's always the job's fault on why they don't work there no more. No, girl,
yeah,
take a look in the mirror. You know what I mean? Like, it's not them, it's you.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can't call in 2 days a week and you only work 4 days a week and then think they're gonna be okay with that. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
Right.
yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Hey,
Oh,
Tanya.
so now they tripping because they ain't got time to be paying an employee that ain't there.
Yeah,
Right.
Like, no, come on, man.
Y'all know I have noticed for some people accountability is hard. Like, and I say personally, when I first started fessing up to the stuff that I was out here doing, especially when I was out there living wrong, it was hard for me to say out loud in front of people during that time, like, yeah, and so, I'm doing this. It was hard for me to go through that. Like, I had to really grow through that point in my life to where I could say, you know what, this was me and it happened. And so what you gonna do about it? Like it's hard. I see a lot of people don't take that good. Like I don't know, they act like you killing them just trying to get them to look at themselves.
Yeah, and
okay. So
and I
Bree
get
just
that a lot
commented.
too.
I'm going to read her comment. Um, Says you're saying we should have left, but what about the men even taking accountability of their wrongs before we knew we were supposed to leave? If men were to, if men were to, if men would have took accountability and didn't do the things to us, there wouldn't be nothing for us to be accountable for.
Well, but
Uh, okay.
I can understand where she's coming from, and I somewhat agree with that. But there are a lot of men out here who haven't been taught how to maneuver properly around a real woman.
But that's
So
an
you can
excuse.
Well, let
We
but
me.
don't
that's
take
what
the
that's what I
accountability.
was getting at. A real man is going to learn and figure out what it takes to be able to make that happen. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, if he's not doing it in a timely manner, leave. You can walk away from that situation just as quick as he could.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's always somebody out there that's ready and prepared for you.
But you know what though? I feel like that's the problem with today's generation. That mind frame and that concept of just leave, like when marriages back in the day lasted for 40, 50 years, they weren't just leaving. Like they were trying to work that out and figure it out to try to hang on to that and see what they could do to make the relationship better. And so I feel like a lot of the times, like when women hang on like that, it's because the communication is there. And in the beginning, we're over communicating. This is our needs. This is our wants. This is what we need from you. And instead of the men understanding that we're telling you how we need to be loved, you guys are still so busy. And not you, Rolo. I'm not saying you. Our men are still so busy, like trying to do what they do instead of like looking at the woman in front of them saying, okay, I understand what she's saying. I understand this is hurting her, but I
Right.
understand that she's trying to hold on. So what can I do to try to hold on to this too? So I get what you're saying, but at the same time, I feel like Bree said, we should never have to get to the point to where we have to say, okay, I shouldn't have stayed for that long, especially if the communication is there and we're communicating to like, hey, I feel like this is changing the dynamic in our relationship.
But see, I feel like our grandparents, our great grandparents and grandparents were raised in a different time than we were when we were coming up. Most of our fathers and shit were incarcerated. We didn't have nobody really around us that really taught us that. But most men would look, and if they really wanted to, would take some time out to learn who they are. You can't you can't ask for something for yourself if you don't even know what it is you want. You know what I'm saying? Most men have no idea who they are and what they want in life in the first place. And women are like that too. So when you do that and you end up with somebody that is everything you didn't want, it's because you didn't learn who you were and what you needed to make your life successful and have a happy relationship with your spouse. You know what I mean? So I feel like we need to take accountability and learning who we are first before we go out here searching for somebody else. We can't be healed and then go out here and try to mess with somebody that's damaged. It's not gonna work.
Yeah,
You
but
know what I'm saying?
I will say this too, like being in my marriage right now, like I was single for a long time before I got with Lloyd, okay? And I went into my marriage thinking I was healed. Like I was healed, I was ready for marriage, I was ready for a relationship. And honestly, like I wasn't necessarily looking for a relationship. I was living in Memphis having the time of my life out there, okay?
Right.
And I just kind of stumbled up on him. But being us finally getting into that relationship, I really started to understand that I was not as healed as I thought I was, because certain things that he would do would bring up past trauma, and it would instantly like shudder my insides and my spirit, not knowing that a lot of the times it didn't have nothing to do with him. It was just something that I had been through in my
Yeah.
past. and
Yeah.
and and like I said, I didn't know that was going to happen until we were already into the relationship. So I understand what you're saying about being healed and going into relationships healed, but it's impossible to know that you're unhealed from that trauma until you're in that situation again.
Yeah. When it
That's
comes
true.
to that stuff, I feel like at the end of the day, a person is always going to do what you allow. And that's from both ends. That's from a man's perspective and a woman. That's on both ends. A person is only going to do what you allow them to do. And with that being said, and this is the part to where I'm always accountable for this for myself. At the end of the day, you know when something does not feel right.
Right.
You know when your spirit is just like, nah, this is not for me. Because we all go through things as individuals, you know what I'm saying? And then when you're in a union with someone, you're gonna go through things because of personality differences.
Right.
But I feel like there's a difference from saying, okay, I'm going through something with my partner, then all right, this really is make it or break it. This is just not working out. And see, the thing where a lot of us, period, are not accountable on is the part where that plateau hits, where we're like, okay, do I stay or I go? That choice, you know what I'm saying? Because some people will leave, some people will stay. I have found the ones that stay, they lose that accountability. It's like them expectations go up and accountability goes down. They expect more, but then they're not willing to look at themselves and look at the role that they're playing into this. You know what I'm saying? And that's
Right.
what I feel like at the end of the day, that's why kind of relationships go the way that they do, because you have people not being accountable for themselves. Then you have them expecting more from the other person than they expect from themselves. And then they're just loving openly, freely, and blindly, and just allowing people, okay, because I love you, and this, you can do whatever. A lot of people look at it like that, and that's why a lot of us hurt ourselves, because we're loving openly, blindly, freely, with no
Mhm.
healthy boundaries, no mirror. You know what I'm saying?
Honestly, I just think that once you get to a certain part of a relationship, it just starts to coast, and the small things that were important in the beginning, they're just not important anymore. I feel like when you really find that person that you're willing to go through with, because in any relationship, anybody you with, you're gonna go through stuff, period.
Yeah.
You're gonna go through ups and downs and trials and tribulations. But when you find the one that it's like, okay, this partnership works out better, because honestly, I'm gonna tell you right now, being married is not about love. It's not about a feeling. It's about a partnership. Because some
Right.
days you're gonna wake up and look at them like, what the hell, you know? But you know that it doesn't matter how you feel about this person. This person's gonna get up and go for you every day. There, that same goal that y'all had yesterday, regardless to how y'all feel about each other, feeling wise, is still the goal today.
Right.
So I feel like that's where that plateau that you're talking about, should I go or should I stay, getting past that and moving forward, like that's just part of it. I really feel like that's just part of it. When you're in the long haul with somebody, like it just don't matter no more. It
Well,
doesn't.
my
It doesn't
thing
think
is,
it has
at the
anything to
end
do
of
with
the day,
accountability.
you always got to have your boundaries. You always have to have your boundaries. And I'm talking about like everything, because relationships, there's so much that could happen. What I mean, as like I say, there's certain things that people are just absolutely not willing to tolerate. Like, for instance, if you're in a relationship and let's just say you're dealing with somebody and he has somebody else and you're choosing to stay.
Oh, that's on you.
Exactly. Boom. That's the
That's on
accountability. You,
you.
you got to take that. You got to take that. So
That's
that's
on
what
you.
I'm saying. Like, there's things that dang well you don't feel good about this. You know what I'm saying? And forget the bigger picture. You know dang well that this is not healthy for your spirit. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm referring to. Like those things that dang well you should leave and you choose to stay.
But some people aren't really spiritually in tune with themselves like that. And that's
But
why
we
I
all
brought it
got
to.
gut instinct.
And I understand that, but some people don't acknowledge it like most people
Yeah.
do. You know
And
what I mean?
I will say that sometimes when you're in a relationship, this has to do with past trauma and bringing it into your relationship and thinking that you're healed going into your relationship. Sometimes you don't know where that gut instinct is a real gut instinct, or is it you being triggered from something that you've been through in the past?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I
is
get,
this
yeah.
actually something that's happening right now today? Or is it something that I've been through in the past and he moved the wrong way? And now I feel like he's like this last man that I was with. Like, I feel like, and that's an accountability piece that I had to take for myself
Right.
too.
Yeah.
Like I had to look at myself like he wasn't doing anything to make me feel that way, but because he moved a certain type of way, it made me feel like, oh no, he doing the same thing so and so used to do. You know
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
I mean? I had to take a long look at myself, like that's my insecurity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
You know
I'm
what
going
I
through that
mean?
right now
and
myself. So
and that's why I said we need to take responsibility and accountability for us healing ourselves before we try to go out here and set expectations for other people. That's like, and I've seen it in a lot of women, especially nowadays. They're not fully healed, but they're trying to tell you what it is they want out of a man. Well, how are you going to know when you got a man like that, because you don't even know what that looks like? You know what I mean? Because you're not focused on you. You're only focused on what you want from him. You know what I'm saying? What he wants from you is to be healed so y'all can heal together and build. He doesn't want to be dealing with stuff that had nothing to do with him in the first place. You know what I
mm,
mean?
my personal
Don't
opinion, when it comes to that aspect, I feel
I'm like,
like I've seen more men hold on to the
oh,
baggage than women, and that's the sad part.
here
Like
we go.
I know a lot of men that's like AOB, MOB, that have those terms ingrained in them because some female hurt them back in high school. So with on that aspect, I'm opposite. I feel
I give
like a
you
lot
that.
of men don't take accountability for their own healing because they still going off of what mama did to them a long time ago and
and
what
they
their
wiped
first
from
girlfriend
15 years
did.
ago. They wiped
Yeah,
from 20 years
because
ago. And that's
I've
what
had
I'm
a lot of men
saying.
try to build me, like, and this is not build a bear, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've had that happen a lot. Like, a lot of men are looking for their mama in me. They want to be taken care of in a deeper sense than what I'm willing to provide. So, I feel like when it comes to that aspect, I feel like men, they're not accountable more than women on
I
that
really don't
particular
think we living
aspect.
in the same reality if you believe that.
What?
Oh, Lord, here he goes.
Anything that just came out your mouth.
I'm not about to play with you.
I'm
I
just
ain't about to
messing.
play
I
with
don't.
you.
I just. I don't know. I mean, it's in my opinion. I do personally feel like women have a harder time being accountable for themselves. But I do know, I oddly enough, I know more men that have a hard time holding themselves accountable than I do women.
Okay, now we're breaking ground
But
because
I
this is
don't.
what I
But
said
I
in the
don't hang
beginning.
out with a bunch of women either. So how am I? You know, I just be Listen, I'll be on my Facebook scrolling and I see stuff all day, every day about some raggedy ass man that some woman done got with, and now he done broke her heart. Now she hating it. Like, yo,
But
you've
see,
been
that's
with
why
this.
I say
You've been with this
overall
man
though.
forever, dude. Like you didn't know that he wasn't shit. Like, come on.
But like I said, I
Now
feel like
you're mad because you chose that for you. Take some accountability and say, I made the choice to stay with this ain't shit man.
yeah.
So I'm just as irresponsible as he is.
Yeah, and you're right. And that's facts. And that's facts, Rollo. I'll give you that 1,010%. And so I think what we're getting to in this point of the show is that it's probably like an even playing field depending
Oh
on how
yeah,
you look at it.
definitely.
You
Yeah,
know, like
Yeah,
there's some things that I can say women are more accountable on, but there are some things that I can say men are more accountable on, is what we're getting to now. In the beginning, it was just
yeah,
straight men or women. I don't think there's a one-sided answer to this right now because it depends on what angle you're looking at it from.
right.
You
right.
want to go to the comments, y'all, because there's so many of them, and I want them to
Oh,
know
I
that we're
already
reading their comments.
know.
Okay.
So okay, Michelle says yes. Hearing people's stories about jobs and relationships when you really listen makes you go, Hmm. Especially when it's the
Right.
same story over and over and over again.
Yeah,
What I learned, y'all, in this big old age of mine is that if you have that one friend that falls out with all her other friends over and over and over again, baby, you're the common denominator. You're the
Yeah.
problem. Okay,
you
Yeah.
have
let's
to
just
be.
say that.
That's crazy.
My dad says, don't ask questions you really don't want the answer to. I believe a woman is a reflection of her man. If he ain't shit, then she ain't gonna be shit. As a man, I have no control over how you feel about your feelings. Belong to you. Just a thought.
Yeah.
Jose says, but true love is unconditional. If both want to work on it and let love break through, anything is possible. Tanya has been married for 40 years. Congratulations, girl. That's a long time. She
Right.
Yeah,
says,
Congrats.
the Lord sure blessed me with a great gentleman. Bree says, when you love somebody, it's not just that easy to leave. And most of the time, it's women that love more than the men because they are not going to leave. That's the accountability piece we were talking about.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Alexis, and if you guys have a comment that y'all want to respond to, just let me know and I'll pause.
Right.
Alexis, it's not our spouse's job to make us happy. We got to be able to make ourselves happy and love ourselves before we can ever be happy with someone else.
There you go. Yes. Yes to that one. I love that one.
My dad says there's no such thing as unconditional love unless it's between a parent and a child. I strongly agree on that.
Yes,
Um, I don't know. I feel like I agree with that.
I do wholeheartedly.
I don't. And I'm gonna say this because, and I'm gonna use this example. I'm gonna take my first love. Y'all know who my first love was. Those of y'all that don't know, you ain't gonna know because I ain't saying his name. But anyways,
I want to know. I'm
I want to
playing.
know.
so
I'm playing. I'm being messy, y'all.
anyway, so and I'm gonna say this. And if he ever sees this, you know who you are. But this person I grew up with. I
Not you
mean,
gave
and
him a shout out.
we went
Mm.
through a lot. We went through a lot. Anyways, we went through a whole lot. And when I was younger, I mean, it was that blind love. I was in love. I mean, I'm your ride or die. It's whatever. And now, that we're grown, I will say I do believe in unconditional love because I have learned that just because I don't deal with you on a daily basis does not mean that I don't love you. Like I still love this person. I still wish the best for this person. I still, pray for this person. Like for me, that is love. Like love is still being there when needed be. Love is still, hoping for the best, wishing the best, keeping the peace because we co-parent very well. It's my baby daddy, one of my baby daddies, y'all. But anyways, we co-parent very well. I mean, we have a good friendship. So for me, even though the dynamic of the love has switched, because I'm not in love with them, I don't want to be with them. But at the end of the day, that's a big piece of my heart. You know what I'm saying? And we shared a lot of history. So I do believe in unconditional love, because regardless of my current relationship, he even understands that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's family. That's somebody I'm always gonna love. And that's how I look at my
Okay, so
phone.
I'm gonna read this. Okay.
Okay.
This is what I Googled unconditional love definition. I'm gonna read this, okay?
Okay.
So as we listen and sit and listen to what you just said, okay? Unconditional love is characterized by acceptance and affection without strings attached or conditions. It involves loving somebody for who they are without expecting anything in return and desiring only their happiness. This type of love is often seen as selfless act of caring when you prioritize the other person's well-being without considering personal gain.
So with that definition, I feel like unconditional love can happen.
I don't think that anybody goes into a relationship without some type of expectation.
Yeah, but you can lose
It's
those
impossible.
expectations. You know,
Mhm.
those expectations is something
Okay,
that can
you
change.
may you may lose the first expectations that you had, but there will be other expectations.
Well, yes, you are right. There be, because I my
So
thing
that's
is, I expect you to still
that's
be a good person. Like, I expect you to still
that's
be a good person.
but
So
that's
yeah.
loving them with condition.
Okay, so yeah, when you break it all the way down,
You
I
know,
mean, let's get to the nitty gritty. But but
that's
at
a
the end of the day,
condition.
I don't
Like,
expect no personal gain from it. Like, there's no personal gain I expect from it at all. I just wish this person well.
it's with condition,
It's with conditions. Yeah. Yeah.
man.
And so I don't know. I guess I don't know, you guys. It's so hard. It's really hard to say because, like, I understand the way I love my child, and I understand the way my child loves me, and I understand that when my child was little, it was definitely unconditional. But when the kids start to grow up and they turn into teenagers, they expect things from you.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
That unconditional love turns into
Terms and conditions.
it does terms and conditions. It
Yeah,
absolutely does.
hell
And
yeah.
I feel like in a relationship, I'll use my dad as an example. He's been married to my stepmom for a very, very long time. She's my mom. I don't even like to use the word stepmom because they've been married for 22 years, I believe, this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so for me, like, there was a point in our relationship where I'm my dad's only daughter. He says he has some more of them out there, but he's lying. Anyways, and so me and his wife didn't always get along. Me and my mother didn't always get along, and that was me being his only child, his only daughter. And I used to feel like he chose her over me. And I used to say that to him, like, why you always choose her over me? He's like, that's my wife. 23 years, sorry, Dad. That's my wife. And now that I'm married, baby, I understand, because when I tell you I love my husband and don't nothing come before him, nothing comes before him. And do I think that me and him have unconditional love now at this point? Yes. In the beginning, was it unconditional? No. No, because I think we very much came into the relationship of expectations of what we wanted and needed out of the relationship. But now that we've grown to where we are right now, I don't think the expectations are what they used to be. It's more of just like an understanding of this is what we're going to accomplish together.
I mean, with that being said, though, you're not even loving your kids unconditionally, because at some point you still have expectations of your kids.
Well,
And your spouse.
Yeah.
um,
So with that being said,
That's with
unconditional love
condition.
doesn't exist, period.
It doesn't. It does not. I'm sorry, but it does not. It
I
does
mean, if
not exist.
how do y'all feel in the audience? Does
Right.
unconditional love exist? I know they've been talking about it. I'm gonna keep going through these comments because we're gonna get to the bottom of this, because this seems to be a big topic, the unconditional love thing. Lloyd says, but is really loving unconditional or just being dumb? At some point, you have to use the common sense God gave you. Facts. Michelle says, try to find someone over 50 that's not cuckoo. I'm serious though, with the laugh faces. And my dad says, what is unconditional love? That's what I just read. Lloyd says, some use loving unconditional as an excuse to be dumb. I don't think so. I don't think women in relationships use unconditional love as a reason to be dumb. I think that, and even with men, like, I feel like genuinely, when you love deep and you have a huge heart and you always try to see the good in somebody. And like I said, most women fall in love with the potential that they see in a man. We do not fall in love with the man that we see sitting in front of them. And while, yes, we know that it's dumb that we continue to stay, we're hoping that he changes. And most of the time in those type of relationships, when it's good, it's great. but when it's
Yeah.
bad, it's horrible. And
Yeah.
so it's a lot of mixed emotions because when you most men who are like that and they treat women like that, they love bomb you. And so in those times that it's great, like it feels so good, like you're the only person that matters to them. They're gonna change, they want to change, they apologize, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna hold on and wait to see what kind of ground we broke this time. And so I
Yeah.
don't think that it has anything to do with unconditional love. I really feel like it's holding on to the hope or the peace of this love that you do have for this person.
Right.
And see, I understand that because I was one of those men, you know what I'm saying, that did a lot of stuff. Like I always say, man, I hurt a lot of good women in my life because I wasn't ready. I didn't know what it was that I wanted. I had stuff that was still going on inside of me that I chose to just try and run from, which falls in that line of I didn't want to take accountability for the stuff that happened in my life, whether it was my fault or not. Because it may not have been my fault, but I still could have took that situation and turned it into something different than what I chose. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, I feel like there was probably maybe a couple that felt like they felt like unconditional love until I ruined it for them. Now they probably never experienced that. You know what I mean? That feeling of unconditional love because some dude came and ruined it. But in the first place, I just don't believe that you can love somebody so much that you completely default yourself and how you feel about stuff. Like I don't think that's possible. The first time they do something crazy, you on their head. Like, at least in my opinion. I mean,
Yeah, they're going back and forth in these comments. And I mean,
oh,
hey,
I
they're
bet
going
they
back and
are.
forth in these
Yeah, you
comments.
got a lot over there. For you guys that are commenting on my page, I appreciate y'all. I'm getting to y'all slowly but for surely. But I just wanted y'all to I just want y'all to know I see y'all. I see y'all.
So y'all, let me explain something to you. And this is from me going back and forth through the comments. I see a lot of the men saying there's no such thing. A lot of the women are saying there is a such thing. And so this is the thing. Unconditional means you are not expecting anything in return. Okay. You're not expecting anything in return. I don't care how long you're married. My husband's finna get up and go to work and help pay these bills. Okay. Hey, let me tell you something. I don't care about none of that. And so that's where the condition comes in. And
Yeah.
so I think that the men in the comments that are saying this, I see it from your point of view. And I totally agree. There are conditions in marriage. I think that
Yeah.
at some point in marriage, you just kind of coast through it a little bit. And like I said, the expectations become a standard. Like, this is what you have to do to maintain this relationship and this marriage. So don't make me say that shit again.
Yeah. So unconditional love doesn't exist.
Right. We just
That's
basically
that's the
Yeah.
pinpointed
point.
it.
Yeah.
So we all agree that unconditional love does
Exactly.
not exist,
It
right?
just doesn't exist
Okay.
because when you get married or even in a relationship, provider, he has to be your provider, a protector, a leader. Those are expectations. That's what you expect from him off the rip. Like there isn't even nothing. That's what you expect. So those are conditions to me. You know what I'm saying?
So I want to read Alexis's comment. She said, "It's always unconditional to my kids and my husband. At no point does my love stop. I may be mad, I may hurt, but I won't ever stop my love. I can love you and never speak to you or upon you because you aren't." Y'all, I'm trying to understand. When you guys are typing out comments, just know I'm trying to read them out loud, baby. And if they ain't typed right, I'm gonna stutter on through them. Okay, I'm gonna get there though. I love you and never speak to you again or because you aren't good for my energy, but I still got love. I always tell my family you're going to fall at some point and I'm going to watch it happen so you can learn because I can't hold your hand and keep my head up too.
I kind of feel what she's saying. I mean, I kind of get what she's saying a little bit. Basically, that yeah, she believes in unconditional love and she loves them with no conditions, and you don't have to deal with
But
somebody.
I don't think that so you guys, I think that everybody's getting this twisted. Unconditional love, we're not saying that you stop loving them because you're upset. We're
Right.
not saying that the love never ends. That doesn't mean That just means that you're going to love them forever. Unconditional love means that there is no personal gain. All you want for them is to be happy, and that no matter what happens, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't
So
matter. You just want them to be happy, and that's not
Yeah.
facts. I'm sorry,
That
because
means
like
you're
I said,
sacrificing.
as a married woman,
Yeah.
you're gonna get out here and you're gonna help.
so I have a question though for y'all. And just clearing this whole little certain topic we got going on. I feel like we didn't totally switch gears. But so you don't believe that so you don't believe that you can just love somebody and just wish well for them? Because we already said that we don't, y'all say with
In
pinpointing
a,
this down,
in a current
unconditional love doesn't
relationship or a
exist.
previous relationship, like so okay, are we talking
In
about
general,
in a
just in
relationship?
general.
No, I
In
do. I
general.
feel like you can, in general, love. Like I love my family. I love my family. I love my family. I want them to do good. I want them to prosper in life. You know, I don't want nothing from them. And I'm the type where if you try to give it to me 10 out of 10, I'm gonna tell you I don't want it because I'm gonna get out here and go get it on my own. I
Mhm.
feel like that's unconditional love. I don't want nothing from you. But when it comes to a relationship, you guys, those expectations never go away. I'm sorry. They, like I said, it might be easier to coast through them. You don't have to talk about them no more, but they're still there. I
Yeah.
expect for my husband to be in that bed every night to go to sleep.
That's facts.
I'm just saying that's a
That's
condition.
yeah.
That's a
That
condition
is.
of our marriage.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's
That's
like
a
you can say
condition.
people can say anything they want to, like anything they want to, and be like, "Oh yeah, I love my spouse unconditionally, and all I want is for them to be happy." Okay, but to what expense? What if they're making you unhappy? Are you gonna stay with that or divorce them?
Right. So
Chances
you
are
don't believe that you can love your
you're
spouse or
probably
your
gonna
kids
leave because one of the
unconditionally?
conditions was he was supposed to keep you happy. You know what I mean? Like it's just there's no way, especially in a relationship and with your children. There's no way. There's not like listen. I love my children to death, but if you kill somebody, I'm telling. You know what I'm saying? Like
Shit, Rolo. I need some water.
that's terms and condition.
Listen,
Yeah.
Rolo,
No,
pause.
I'm
listen.
saying
Hold on.
that's the condition. Like, don't be out here
Yeah.
being ridiculous. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Okay. See, I just had to ask that question because I'm a person, I do believe in unconditional love. But like I say, by the textbook, supposedly unconditional love does not exist. And then you guys are saying in a relationship and then with the kids, it does not exist. But I'm like, you can love a person and wish them well and not expect anything from them.
I don't.
That is no
I feel
without
like. Hold on.
condition.
I feel like honestly, in any relationship, no matter whether it's family or not, I say that there is no expectations, but there. I mean, there is. You guys, let's just be
There's
for real.
always an
There's
expectation.
expectations in every relationship that you're in, and no
Always.
matter what it is. You know what I mean? Like
Whether it's
you
a
can see it,
friendship or a relationship, it does not matter.
because you ain't
There
gonna
are
dog me out
terms and
over and over
conditions.
and over again, and I'm just gonna keep loving you and wanting and wishing you well. That's not gonna happen.
No,
Yeah.
no, no,
I'm sorry, but it's not gonna happen.
no.
I don't
Okay.
know. Okay, let's go back to these comments,
All
y'all.
right.
Let's go back to these comments. Okay. D says, can you still have unconditional love and not want BS in your relationship? No,
No.
no.
Huh?
My dad says, I love my children no matter what, right or wrong or indifferent. All I ask is that they be better than I was. But in relationships, there's always conditions. I love my wife, but these house payments don't stop. I don't need no help to start to start the debt. Expectations. Okay.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
hey, for
Uh,
sure, Pop.
Bree says, how is expectations personal gain?
I would love to hear one of y'all's answers for that.
You want me to tell you?
Yeah. So how is expecting someone not to be a butthole personal gain?
Listen, let's not use the butthole
because
analogy.
because
But
them
I'm just
because them because you not being happy is you not being happy, and so if they're not making you happy, it's going to
that's
make you feel some type of way.
that's a condition.
That's a condition.
Yeah,
Absolutely, that's a
that is a
condition.
condition. Because if it didn't matter and they're just making you miserable, you're like, I still love this person. Then yeah, you have unconditional love for that person, and that's just weird.
Yeah, if you listen, if he's out 3, 4, 5 in the morning, sleeping with this girl and that girl and this girl, and you're like, come on in here, babe, and let me make you a sandwich and let's go to bed. That's
Yeah,
unconditional love, baby.
that's crazy.
Unconditional.
That
Yeah,
that's
Okay?
past. That's
because
past.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell you right now.
No, that's not past. That's unconditional love. That is every part of the definition here.
Yeah,
Like,
for real.
it's
Yeah,
Without
without
condition.
judgment or need for anything in return. Like, that means that you don't need them to feed your spirit, your emotions. No, none of that. You just need them to be there.
yeah.
Oh,
Then
oh, you
that's
just need them to
But
unconditional.
you can
exist.
still love people without needing them to be there.
Yeah, you can, but like, in reference to what though? In reference to
Okay,
what?
so let me ask Shalonda this.
Like even one of your exes, like, yeah, I still love this person, but unconditionally, because no, under the condition that they don't come over here messing with me and starting shit. And you know what I'm saying? Like, with the expectation that they don't come over here tripping. That's still a term.
Okay,
Okay.
so let me ask you this, Shalonda.
Okay.
And this is based off of, I can only respond based off what you just said a little bit ago to the shout out to your first love that you just did a little bit ago.
I didn't
Oh,
give a personal shout out, but go ahead.
Nah, that's what I heard, but I might be wrong. That's that accountability piece because I think you did.
you're
Anyway,
wrong.
Okay.
She did not shout that person out.
Okay, but
she said
anyway.
if you see this, you know who you are. That's a shout out. Anyway,
Oh,
Okay,
dang,
get
you
past it.
did.
okay,
Okay.
all right, okay. So you said all these great things on the reason why you feel like that love was unconditional and it still is today. But say that co-parenting relationship wasn't what it is. Would you
Okay.
still do the best for that person?
You said what I still wish the best?
Would you still be happy and would you still be able to get on here and give that same shout out to your first love, that unconditional, if the relationship was not the same as it is right now? If this person was not on the same page as they are right now with you as far as co-parenting and being this person in your life, would you still be able to love that person unconditionally?
Now
No.
you should be able to answer that question yourself because you have been knowing me for a very long time and you know I've always been me. So and it ain't always been pretty. It's not always been good. And I've still been able to wish that person well. I've still been able to say, you know what, I wish you the best with your relationships, with your life, with
But
your
I think I've
endeavors.
heard you, but I think I've heard you say that you hated him too. So I'm just
No, you
saying.
have not heard me say I hated them. You heard me say that month. See, we about to get almost took me off my square. But you have not heard that. But yes, we've been through some stuff. But see, that's why I believe in unconditional love. Because even through the highs and the lows and the ups and the downs and the backs and the forth, I can still be like, you know what? I wish you well over there. I wish you well over there.
But that doesn't mean you love them. That just means you have love for them. That's not the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
Like,
there's different tiers of love.
yeah,
So
that's
I'm
not
just
the
talking
same
about the
thing.
basic tier, like the basic level of love, wishing you well. I'm not talking about in love and you know what I'm saying, but the basic tier of love, yes, I have that.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
With the expectation
Listen,
that this person is still able to co-parent with you and
No,
continue to do, say this person didn't do anything for your kids, did never talk to you, did never, you wouldn't have that same story. You wouldn't feel the same way.
and see, and I can't blast all my business out because this is social media,
she
but
does
I
on
still have
purpose.
to say, I still wish the other person well. I still wish them well. There's still no ill feelings on number one.
Listen,
But it
I'm gonna
hasn't
tell
always
you.
been
I'm
like
gonna
that.
keep it a whole band right now.
Number one, you're right. I had to grow.
If me and my kids' mom wasn't cool, I wouldn't wish them heifers nothing. Not a nan nutter.
No, I had
Not,
to grow. So
not a
yes, I'm not the
damn
same
nut.
person I was then. But who I am now, yes, I wish number one very well. I wish him well with all his endeavors, with his relationship, just like I wish number two well.
Hey, if you ain't first, you're last. Remember that.
You're stupid.
Hey, Bree is typing in all capital letters, and I just want to know exactly what she's talking about.
What?
Because I think she's upset. So let's go to these comments right
Oh my
fast.
God.
Okay, how is expectations personal gain? I read that. Aunt Leslie says, I think unconditional love, accepting for someone for who they are. Expectations have no place in unconditional love. Unconditional love doesn't exist, and it doesn't even. I mean, it is what it is. My dad says life ain't a Hallmark card. Or Bree says, or conditions personal gain. How is it personal gain? Question mark, question mark, question mark. So this is the one that's in all capital letters. This is the one she's yelling at us right now from her house.
Bree, you know we love you. It's nothing personal, sweetheart. This is just our opinions.
Jose said, I did that with my wife. I forgave her over and over again when she cheated. That goes back to that accountability piece we were talking about earlier. Um, Terry, I ain't gonna eat it. What?
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 That must have been based off something we were talking about earlier. Okay. Oh, he's not gonna eat the sandwich. Heard, got it.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
He was talking about that sandwich I was talking about coming in at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Leslie, yes, you can. If there's expectation and it's not unconditional love, if you have true friendship, that's better than a relationship. Shay, I agree, but my dad said, Shay, I agree, but you had to grow into that mindset. I remember,
Yes, and he's
not
correct.
different
Yeah.
layers. And Bree says unconditional love is real and does exist.
We done went from
Right.
accountability to unconditional love, y'all. This is hot.
Yeah. I think unconditional love and accountability kind of fall in the same thing because, you know,
You got to be accountable for the conditions, how you love a person.
yeah. But I mean, I don't. I'm just listen.
Y'all, this guy.
There's always going to be terms and conditions when you're dealing with another person, especially when you're dealing with people like us who have been through so much in our life. We don't have time or want or the energy or the longevity to be explaining and doing all this stuff over and over again. We don't have time for that shit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Bree
Like
says
we're
you guys need to take accountability.
no, I know she lied. I know she lied.
No, she didn't.
Yo, you know what? Maybe she's right. Maybe she's right.
I just feel like even so, listen, I love my siblings to death. Okay. I love my siblings. Like there's something different about your siblings than any other relationship in your life, right? It's different than
Facts.
your kids, it's different than your mom and dad, it's different than anybody else. And I feel like that's because like there's a bond there, like you share different things there that nobody else understands, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, like I still have expectations from my sister. I still expect for her to talk to me respectfully when she speaks to me. You know what I mean? Like I still expect for her to answer the phone if I'm breaking down and I need somebody to be there. Like that's an expectation of mine. You know what I mean? And I feel like just small expectations like that, people don't even realize that's an expectation.
Yeah.
And if you don't give me that, if you're not giving that to me when I need that, if you're not there when I need you to be, then really, is
There's a
the love
problem.
still going to be the same?
The love will be the same, but the respect and the like
Well, I don't feel like you can love somebody without respecting them. Respect comes first.
dependability. I mean, yeah, but all it's gonna mean is you love her, but you just aren't gonna be able to depend or rely on that person. You know what I'm saying? Because like, I mean, I have partners whom I love dearly. They like my brothers. You know what I'm saying? But I don't expect much from them. You know what I mean? And that's just how it is. And there's reasons why, which I'm not gonna put it out there. You know what I'm saying? For they're still my brothers, and I would never put our business out there like that. But there's a reason why I don't really depend on them for any reason at all. You know what I'm saying? I just expect them to be who they are. And as long as you do that, we gonna always be cool. You know what I'm saying? But I know there's certain things I can't come to expect from them. You know what I mean? But I think the one thing that I can honestly say I love with definitely probably unconditional love would be lemons.
What?
I love lemons.
Hey, listen, Rolo. Oh my gosh. You
Oh
guys, so
my
this
God.
topic, this
Hey,
topic completely shifted.
lemons
It
lemons
really
Um,
got me
did.
down.
this completely shifted, y'all. So we are talking about accountability tonight.
Yes. Sorry.
And I let you know nobody wants to be accountable because we shifted it from.
So on another subject.
Yeah, let's talk about something else because
Yeah.
listen, we don't want to talk about that right now. Um,
Hey,
Oh man,
I'm
my
not
stomach hurts.
responsible for anything I've ever done. and you can't prove
That's
otherwise.
what unaccountability looks like, y'all. Prime
Yeah, yeah,
example.
nah, that shit wasn't my fault at all.
Oh, you know how many times I've heard that?
Hey, look, if life wouldn't have played me like it did, that never would have happened. I'm
And you know
playing.
what though? I will say though, honestly, for a long time in my life, and I think this was the Taurus in me, a lot of it had to do with the Taurus in me. Like I refuse to back up and take accountability for my actions or
Yeah,
take accountability for the things that I said. And when I felt like I was right, I was right. I didn't care what nobody else had to say,
period.
even if I knew I was dead ass wrong. And now
Yeah,
that I'm older and I'm starting to grow and see myself better for who I am as a woman, like I understand like you was wrong, you know.
yeah,
And I think in my marriage this time, like this is the first marriage where in the beginning I used to apologize all the time. I would apologize first. Like I didn't want to stay mad all day because my previous relationship we would live in the same house and we wouldn't talk to each other for about a week and a half because he was just like that. Like if he was mad, he would give me the silent treatment. Literally, all he would say is roll up or let's go get something to eat for
yeah,
weeks. And so for me, like I never wanted to go through that shit again. And so when I got in this relationship, when we started arguing, even if I felt like I wasn't wrong, I would go be like, baby, I'm sorry. Let's, or I apologize. Let's move forward. And then it got to a point where you was dead ass wrong. I'm done apologizing. It's your turn.
Yeah,
And then I stopped apologizing. Even if I was dead wrong, I would be like, I'm not gonna say I'm sorry. He gonna have to say it this time. Because it was more like being proud now, and that really, I don't know, y'all. It's so many different layers. Like they're talking about unconditional love still in the comments. They're going back and forth about that. But I think like there's so many different layers to accountability too. And
we gonna
especially
have to
in
make that
relationships.
its own episode. We got to make that its own episode and come
yeah.
back and circle back on that unconditional love.
Hey, for real, because a lot of what people gotta say, it's interesting on people's viewpoints about unconditional love. You
Right.
know what I mean? But as far as accountability goes, I think as an adult, a lot of us struggle with that. You know what I mean? Because we just don't like to be wrong. We don't want
Yeah.
to be in the wrong. You know what I mean? But what a lot of people don't realize is sometimes being wrong is how you learn a valuable lesson,
Yeah, that's growth.
because you messed up and now you know what not to do the next time, and that's
Right.
going to stick with you forever. So everybody looks at holding yourself accountable as a negative thing, and it's not. Holding yourself accountable is saying, yo, look, I apologize for the way I handled this situation, and as the leader of this family, I'll do better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that was my fault. I apologize sincerely. Won't happen again. And you won't make that same mistake twice. Well, a normal human wouldn't. Um, but some people just view it as like the most negative thing you can do. I feel like when you hold yourself accountable, and if you really messed up and you mean what you say, you bring your partner closer to you, because now they know they can trust you to lead them the right way. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Being accountable is about trust. If you can't be accountable with yourself, then how can anybody trust you to be accountable for anything else? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can't admit that you're wrong, how am I supposed to trust you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you don't even trust yourself enough in your growth and in your light to admit that you were wrong for something you did. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I struggled with that for a long time, but then I learned, like, yo, man, this isn't a bad thing. I made a mistake. Now I'm learning from that mistake, and now I know not to make that same mistake twice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like people need to quit looking at it as always being a negative thing. You know what I'm saying?
I will say, adding on a positive to being accountable, it's freeing. When I finally
It is.
grew up and started admitting where I messed up and where, my faults, it feels really good to be able to look in the mirror and be like, you know what? Yeah, I said that. So
Yeah,
what? you know, it
for
feels
real.
good. Like it feels good to now. It depends on the severity of the situation, because I've had some situations to where it was hard. I've had some situations to where it's made me break down and cry. Like, dang, you really did that, or you really said that, or you know what I'm saying? So you do have those moments. But in the end, all of them, even the ones that hurt, I'm always free. Like I feel so much better once I have just admitted. And then, like Rolo said, I grew from it and I was able to become a better person. And I do want to say this for y'all that are jumping on my live. I want to say hello again. And if y'all just now tapping in, because I see I got a few new people. We talking about accountability. Well, we done went back and forth talking about unconditional love and accountability, but tonight's episode is about accountability, and that's what we focused on right now, and how some people just don't want to be accountable. But like I was saying, I think it's really freeing, and I wish more people understood that when it comes to just admitting your faults, you feel really good once you do it,
Yeah.
and there's no better feeling in the world like knowing nobody can bring up something you said or something you did. Because can't
For
nobody
real.
throw nothing in my past in my face. So
Yeah.
what? I wrote a whole book about it, baby. You gonna read it. So with that
And
being said, there's nothing that I'm ever gonna be, oh my goodness, that's gonna hurt me, because I've already had to look in the mirror.
Do you know what I've really heard, I think, throughout the beginning of this conversation and even like listening to us now and really thinking, I think that it's easier to say that women are less accountable because of the social expectations of a woman. We're held to a higher standard than men. And so it's easier to say that women are not accountable because we're expected to be accountable for more things than men, period. I feel like it's easier for men to do things and that they be like, oh, that's just how men are. That's just
that's
how
not
men
true.
are.
That's not
Mm,
true.
I disagree, and let me say
Yeah.
this, and this is my opinion.
We know.
The reason why I feel like so many women have a hard time with being accountable, actually, because the opposite, because a lot of women, and I'm going to speak on the girls who've had fathers around and the other ones, but there's even a difference with those. But females that's had their daddies around, most of the time, when that little girl does something versus, let's just say, her brothers, most of the time daddy he always got her. No matter what his baby girl do, he got her. She can be out here tearing up her boyfriend's car later on. Daddy got her back. Daddy always got her. Uncle always got her. Grandpa always got her. So, and I'm going to say this is for me personally too. I was at a point to where I always had so many males to have my back. I didn't look in the mirror as often. Now, fortunately, I was blessed with a father to always be on me just the same as he was my brothers. When I was out here doing the most, my dad would pull me to the side and be like, that's wrong, Shalonda. You know dang well you shouldn't have been doing that. You know you was wrong with how you talked to him. You was wrong with how you moved with him. So for me, it was easier to be accountable. But my opinion, I feel like so many women grow up with princess mentality because you have some that don't have that, but the majority, there's so many females that grow up with this princess mentality that I can do whatever I want to do. I'm a woman because I got this between my legs, I'm running it. And I have seen that in the world, and I feel like that's why it's harder for a lot of women to be unaccountable, accountable, because of stuff like that. Like they've always had somebody in their corner having their back, doing stuff for them, being there for them. And men, it hasn't been as much. Yes, you have some, but the majority, you don't have a lot of men got to get it out the mud versus the majority of females.
but I don't think that's facts. I feel like that might be based off the people that you know. You know what I mean? I don't think that. Thank you, baby. I don't feel like you can say there's a certain amount of females that grew up with a father and so they act a certain way, and there's not a certain amount of men that didn't grow up with that same tribe and act a certain way. I
Okay, prime
really believe
example. Let me ask you this. Okay, so if you have a man and a woman both stranded on the side of the street, tire blew, who you think is going to get helped and catered to first?
that's different. How is that
No, but
even?
what
That's
I'm
not
saying,
that's
hold
apples and
on.
oranges you're comparing.
No, because the point of me saying that was saying that a woman always has somebody to rescue her 9 times out of 10. Now yes, you do have those,
Because the
because I ain't
woman
always been rescued. I haven't always been rescued. I had to get it out the mud too. But
Because
nine
women
times
are
out of 10,
considered the weaker vessel, of
you
course.
said do what?
Because women are considered to be the weaker vessel, of course somebody's going to come to their aid. It is what it is. We've always been considered, even in the biblical times, women were considered the lesser, the softer version. And so men were made out to be these big, strong men. They're the providers, they're the protectors. Those are
But
the gender roles that we have. It is what it
now
is. But
I'm with you. I'm with you. But with that being said, you still with all of that being said and taking all that into account, you still have more women that are willing to be catered to and pacified than you do have men, and that creates unaccountability.
I don't know. I know
That
some men
can
that's got
create
mama issues.
unaccountability.
I don't know. I know quite a few men that's got mama issues real bad, and they want you to be their whole mama
No,
at the house.
yes,
Okay.
we know there's out there. Because I know some too. But I'm saying, as far as just when I'm out in the world and when I'm moving around and I'm talking about traveling, when I'm just doing me, living life, I see a lot of females that have that entitlement, that don't want to be accountable. All that runs in hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? That entitlement right there from not being forced to be accountable. I see a lot of women have that. And yes, you do see men have that, but I'm talking on a general standpoint. You have a lot of women that are not willing to be accountable because they are entitled, or they have been pacified, or they have been looked at as the weaker ones, to where someone's always been able to come to their rescue. It's even in the movies. The men rescue the women. The men, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like that is what's created unaccountability in women, because
I
they
think
feel like when I do this, my man's gonna have my back, my dad. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's my opinion. That's my personal opinion.
I do feel like it at certain points it is easier for a man to be held accountable than a woman, because I feel like women take a lot of blame for a lot of things, especially when it comes to the kids, the raising of the children. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Most people come back and be like, oh, his mama didn't teach him right. It ain't got nothing to do with
yeah,
his mama. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
she could teach him all she can, but when he's out here, he's still his own person. You know what I'm saying? So you need to hold him accountable, not blame his mom. You know what I'm saying? There's certain things a woman cannot teach a man. But
right,
every single time a kid does something wrong, they're like, his mama didn't raise him
yeah.
right. Not even realize his daddy was there the whole time
They don't
too.
ever say where's the
yeah,
parents at. They say
Yeah.
where's their mama.
Where's their
yeah,
mama? Like
Yeah,
his daddy was there the whole time too. So you can't just blame her. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna blame, you gotta blame the parents
right,
as a whole. You know what I mean? Because that's why I said it's easier for men to be able to accept accountability, because we don't get blamed for a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? When men have always been, oh, this is man made and this is this and that and the other, not even realizing that women contribute to a lot of this stuff too.
that's
You know
what I
what I'm
was
saying?
saying earlier about the social standard and really looking at women.
Yeah,
And we're expected to live up to this higher expectation than a man is because we're women. You know what I mean? And Shay, you might not agree with that. We can agree to disagree. You know, I love you, girl. It
yeah,
is what it is. We have these
for real.
conversations and on and offline. And we agree to disagree and we move forward and we
Yes,
can come
right,
to a common ground. But I think that there's so many different layers to accountability, just like the unconditional
there
love
is.
topic. Like it
yeah,
depends on what angle we're looking at it from. What perception, because it's limited perception. So we can only look at it from the people that we know, not the people that we don't know outside of here, the people who might be in the comments that grew up different. I
Yeah,
do
yeah,
agree with you on the fact that a lot of the girls who were raised with their father, I wasn't raised with my father in the household my whole life, but I know my dad's got my back. At right now, at this old age that I'm at right now, I know that if I need something, I'm calling my dad. I know that if I
yeah,
need to talk, I'm calling my dad. Right, wrong, or indifferent, he's gonna love me no matter what, and no matter where I am in life. And so for me, I don't feel like the part about not being accountable came from having somebody to come to my rescue, because I didn't have that. I
yeah,
didn't have that growing up. You know what I mean? I didn't have the princess mentality. I had the thug mentality. I had to step out of that um thug mentality. And I mean, I felt like I should have been my daddy's son for a long time. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So I had to step out of that and learn that stepping into my soft girl era, that it's okay to say I'm sorry. And
yeah.
it used to be like, I'll cut you off right now. I don't need you. What I need you for? You know
yeah,
what
And
I
see,
mean? And
and
so I
see,
guess, like I said, it's a limited perception and there's a lot of different layers to it. So, I mean, I agree with
yeah,
some of the things you said, Shay, but some of the things, like, I just can't get with it. I don't feel like women who grew up with a father, that doesn't make you not accountable. That's who you choose to
Well,
be.
I'm not saying all across the board because, like you said, there's layers and different perceptions to it. But I'm
Yeah,
just that was when I speak about a lot of my opinions are general unless I say they personal. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of my opinions are general, something that I just observe, just living.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of that falls into with there are some women who recognize their femininity and now that they're trying to live in it, it's a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like some men don't know how to handle a woman who wants to be in her feminine. You know what I mean? Most of them is used to these masculine ass women who be cutting down trees like lumberjacks and they don't know how to handle it. So when a woman's telling you what she want, now she's nagging. You know what I'm saying? But yo, check it. Your job as a man is to make sure she can walk in that feminine. You know what I mean? Like it
Well,
is
that's
your
a whole nother
response.
topic.
It is
I
your
feel like that's a whole
Right.
responsibility.
nother
But
topic.
that's a part of accountability because these fellas don't understand that.
Yeah,
You know
it
what I'm
is. It's a
saying? Like,
huge part of accountability. And I feel
yeah,
like
they don't
honestly,
understand that. If you
Rolo, that goes so much deeper than just that statement. Because for me, um, if a woman has to go to work and work like you, and then you expect her to come home and put down that hat of being in the world and having to be a man all day, because honestly, that's what it is. And then you got to come home and put down that hat and be this soft feminine woman, and that's hard. Sometimes it's hard to turn off and on. You know what I mean? And some men don't understand that in itself, that piece in itself. I mean, it's confusing. You know what I mean? And so
yeah,
it does make it a little bit harder to take accountability for the things, because I was the tomboy, you know what I mean? I was the one growing up that I wanted to be out there with the boys. I like building stuff. When stuff comes to our house,
facts.
like the desks and the chairs and stuff like that, I build those. And in the beginning of me and Lloyd's relationship, he didn't like that. He'd be like, "Nah, you ain't supposed to be doing that. Like that's a man's job." But that's what I like to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I've always done. And I understand where he's coming from, but that's just who I am. You
But
know?
that's okay because you choose to do that, but you also choose to live in your femininity too. You're a woman when it comes to your man. You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't pulling up on Lloyd with your dickies on, tripping. You know what I'm saying? Like you actually treat him like he's a man. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, but
you
I'm gonna
treat
tell
him
you
like
right
he
now,
is
Rolo.
a
I
man and you are a woman.
Yeah,
You
but you know
cook,
what, though,
you
Rolo?
take care of him.
Lloyd is the first man that's ever got that side of me.
Yeah. And I
Honestly, he's the
understand
first
that.
man that's ever, and
But
that's because he demands that.
he made it for you to be able to do that though.
Yeah,
You know, so everybody prior to him, they wasn't, you know what I'm saying?
they
But
weren't a
he
safe space.
yeah, and he allowed you to be who you were meant to be, which is a woman. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? And that's why you are the way you are. Like part of it, obviously it took a lot more than just him, but I'm just saying like you've become more feminine because he allowed that. He made it so you can be that
yeah,
because that's what he wanted. He knew what he wanted coming in. You know what I'm saying? And he put in what he wanted out of his relationship, and now you're in your feminine. Shay, feminine. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's how it's supposed to be.
yeah.
But a lot of us have made it harder for women to be able to do that because now everybody's on this big gender equality thing when I'm gonna just say it and I don't mean no disrespect to anybody, but
Here we go.
there's no equality. Like there isn't. There is no equality. The woman has always been the standard. We know that. You know what I'm saying? Your job as a man is to make sure that she can be that person you need her to be. You can't expect her to be everything you need her to be and not be able to set the stage so she can be that. It's not gonna happen. You know what I mean? So as a man, you're responsible and you're being held accountable for how your woman turned out. Period. So we're not equal, remember that. And that's not a bad thing. We were created that way.
I'm waiting on the women in the comments to come through.
Listen, that's in no way saying that is in no way saying that women are less intelligent or more intelligent or any of that. But I'm just saying men and women are different by design.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's just a fact. I'm not saying anything that's wrong. We're just different by design. You know, we're supposed to be stronger than you. We're supposed to be faster than you. We're supposed to be able to provide for you. Those are facts. And you're supposed to be the one who cares for the children, takes care of home. takes care of your husband. That's a fact. You nurture, we're the muscle.
Yeah, but unfortunately, that's not how it is in today's society.
I know. And
That's where
women
the
are
battle
better at
of gender
nurture. Have you
equality
ever
comes
seen a
from.
man try to nurture somebody? You see how they hold babies?
Where does the accountability come into play with this part?
Oh, I got off topic, my fault. But I'm saying accountability about men being able to let their women walk in their femininity, man. You know what I'm saying? Because you said men are held more accountable than women. Yeah, and in certain situations they are. But in some situations they're falling off because nobody's holding them accountable. That's like I said. When somebody's like, when your kids out here doing something wrong, they like, where they mama at? Instead of where they parents at. You know what I'm saying?
Ashley,
Go
you got
on.
some comments over there?
Hey, you guys would just have to know what that means in our relationship on the phone, okay? That means that to the next subject, Shalonda didn't really agree with that, but she ain't really just gonna say that. So we're just gonna move forward.
That
Um,
is hey, that is not what
um
I meant, because they know if I truly disagree with something, I'm going to speak up.
well,
Actually, Shay is not an agreeable person. In
uh,
fact,
so
she's
I
slick
need,
with that.
okay, wait. I need everybody that's in the comments right now. If you guys are on here right now, I need you to do me a favor real quick. I need you to share our video out publicly right now to your page, and I need you to highlight or followers in the comments for me, because we didn't do that in the beginning. So
Oh yeah.
if you're here, if you're watching, can you do me a favor and do the highlight or followers in the comments for me, and then share us out? Just real quick. We're gonna pause for a second. I need everybody to do that just right quick.
And for you guys following me on my Facebook, do the same thing. Y'all heard it. Follow directions. Follow
I need y'all
directions.
to just real quick follow or highlight in the comments for me and get us shared out, because we didn't do that in the beginning.
Pause for the cause.
They might be missing us right now.
Yeah.
Michelle says done. Thank you. So if you share us
Thank
out publicly,
you.
if you guys see Michelle's comment that she just posted, the little guy with the arrow pointing this way means that you shared us out publicly. I need y'all. That's the only support that we ask for. Like I said, we're not on here asking for money or anything else. We just need your help sharing us out, making sure that we're getting out there to the right people. Okay. So if you guys could just make sure that you get us shared out real fast, because we didn't do that in the beginning, and we usually do it in the beginning. Thank you, Brianna, for the highlight. I appreciate you, baby girl.
Thank you.
Um, thank you, Nicole. I appreciate the highlight. Michelle, thank you for the highlight. You guys, if you can followers, make sure that you click on it though. It should highlight blue like Nicole's did. If your highlight didn't highlight blue like Nicole's did, that mean that it didn't work. There goes Bree. Hers worked. Hey, Bree.
Right. Okay.
Okay, I'm seeing everybody's coming through. Thank y'all. We usually do that in the beginning. I just don't know what I was thinking. I think we just kind of jumped into it really quick today.
Yeah.
Didn't even think about getting us shared out so that everybody was on.
Y'all, they was talking trash backstage, especially Ashley. That's why she forgot.
She was.
Y'all know
I'm
that's what I
telling.
do.
Every
That's what I
time.
She
do.
talking trash and she forgot.
Then she's like, okay, ready. Like, okay,
Yeah.
dang.
Listen, you guys, it's fine. I said I was going to get on here tonight and be super quiet and not say anything. I lied.
And I knew she wasn't.
All right.
Way to
Accountability.
accept
Thank you.
accountability for that.
I'm gonna take accountability for that, because I'm at an age now where I can take accountability. Austin, the question of the night is who's more accountable, men or women? Who's more accountable, men or women? He's just tapping in. What's up, cousin? Good to see you. We love you. The question of the night is who's more accountable, men or women? Go ahead and answer that. Drop your answer in the comments, and don't just
Right.
answer. I want to know why you feel the way you feel.
Definitely.
I appreciate all the highlights. You guys, if your highlight didn't light up blue, that means that it didn't go through, which is fine. Just share us out publicly to your page. If it's not letting you highlight, that does help us out. It gets us shared out. We don't need anything else from you but that, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Man, cousin, you missed a lot. We were talking about accountability. It went into unconditional love and whether you think unconditional love is real or not.
And
A
back
lot
to
of people
accountability.
said no. A lot of people said yes. We were talking about different relationships that you feel like could be unconditional love, and which ones weren't. So we got into the nitty gritty for a while. But it was fun. We've had fun so far. Thank you guys for sharing us out. I see all the people that have the little guy next to him with the arrow pointing sideways. That means you shared us out publicly. I do appreciate that. Like I said, that is all we're asking you for support wise, is getting us out there. And do you guys see how when the app highlight app followers start to happen in the comments, our viewers go up a little bit? That means that more people are able to get on and see what's going on. And we're able to reach more people. And that's really our only goal here. But yeah, let's jump back into it. Austin, who is more accountable, men or women? And that's what we've been talking about. We were just talking about gender equality too, but we're gonna move on past that subject.
Don't start.
But no, I will say, Rolo, back to what you were saying earlier. Like, I do feel like I've never been held to a standard of accountability like I am in my marriage right now. Because he literally makes me look at every piece of me, every part of me, as a woman, and that's because he's willing to take accountability as a man. Like, I've never in my life had a man where I can go to and be like, baby, this is my issue, this is what I'm struggling with, and this is the issue that I have, like, right now with our relationship and the type of man that you are to me. And he might not say nothing about it right then in that very second, and he might not say nothing about it ever again, but his actions are going to show me that he heard me. And so for me as a woman to see my man hear me and then act on what he heard me say, baby, that does something to me that makes me want to be accountable about everything. Okay.
Girl, get off here. Lloyd, shout out to you. I don't know how you
Hey,
do
listen, he
this,
makes
but I
me just
love
want
you,
to be
brother.
accountable every day, baby. It's not a game.
Because like she said, Lloyd, she wasn't accountable before.
At
I
all.
wasn't. But you know what? I'm not, I'm woman enough today to say I can say that. Hey, because my main thing was like, oh well, you can't whoop me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
That's
so
how I feel.
I really had that mentality. So I didn't care what nobody thought. Like, I didn't owe you nothing. I didn't owe you no expectation or explanation or whatever the case may
Yeah.
be. So I mean, who are you? You know
Right.
what I mean? But I don't feel like that no more. Like, I really feel like now that I'm getting older, it's better to have those conversations, even with people outside of just my husband, like, and
Yeah.
try to understand from not just my perception, but their perception too. You know, and when I worked at Marriott, we did this thing, and we all went to our supervisors. It was 3 different supervisors, and we asked them, like, what do you think I struggle with the most? Just to hear like what answers we got. And you know, the answer that I got from all 3 of mine was the exact same, just different wording. It was basically like, when you're passionate about something, you get tunnel vision,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah.
means that when I think I'm right, I don't want to hear what nobody else has to say. And I refuse to look at it from any other way but mine. And I think for me, like, hearing that from 3 different people in different ways, that was an eye opener for me. And I was at an age where I was starting to heal and starting to get to that big girl.
Right.
Okay, I want to grow. And so it happened right on time. But being with my husband, it definitely pushed me into, okay, now it's time to grow. I have to grow in order to hold on to what we have. Like, I have to be able to get to a different level of being a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I fucking Lloyd's my guy. Excuse my language, but Lloyd, you my partner, bro. For surely.
Austin says, man, it's all on the individual. Like myself, it took me until I was like 29, 30. But you know what? Respect, cousin, for the honesty, because a lot of men, they
Yeah.
won't say that.
Yeah.
They won't say that.
Yeah.
And that's where the accountability piece comes in. Like, they refuse to see what they've done in the
Yeah.
past and how that affected the people in their lives. And so that the fact that you're able to say that right now, that just shows how much you're growing
Yeah.
into being a man, and being able to take accountability for your actions.
That's my guy, man. Shout out to Austin, bro.
Me
Yeah.
too. I love him.
For
That's
real.
what's up.
That's my partner.
Nicole says women are more accountable because we are expected to work, keep the house and kids taken care of, and everything that comes with having a family, and still put on a pretty face.
Love you, baby.
For those of you guys who don't know, Nicole is Rolo's wife. And so she just got on here and checked him right quick with the 1-2. And that's fine. We love you, sis. We heard you, baby, and I agree.
I don't agree with none of it, but whatever.
Oh Lord.
I'm just fucking with you. Oh man. Quit watching.
Shalonda. Really?
What?
Really? We were worried about Rolo getting on here and just laughing the whole time. I'm just saying.
Oh, because this is Facebook and y'all know I can only say so much.
Honestly, you can just say whatever you want to say.
Nah, you cannot.
I cannot.
As long as you ain't saying like unalive or nothing like that, you pretty much can.
No.
So go ahead. Say what you want to say.
I don't want to say nothing. Go back to the comments.
So I mean, there's not really any right now that I haven't read except for, let's see, Lloyd says, I wasn't always accountable either. We learn from each other and still learning. Big facts. Jose says, Nicole, but if that's me in my household minus the pretty, but what if that's me in my household minus the pretty face? Jose, your situation's just a little bit different, honey.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different. Your guys' relationship and stuff is a little bit different. Same thing, just different roles.
Definitely.
My dad says it's a 50-50 thing. I come home before her. I cook. She comes home before me. She cooks. We build this together. Period.
All right.
Say that.
Pop.
And that's how it works. Do you hear me? Because wherever my husband is lacking, I got you, baby. Okay. And vice versa. He cooked dinner tonight and it was phenomenal. Okay.
What was it?
It was some chicken that he cooked with some Parmesan cheese on top of it, some chicken legs. He made some, I don't know where he got the recipe from. When I first opened the pot, I was kind of like, babe, what is this? But it was good. It was good. And he made some ribs and he made some corn on the cob and he made some broccoli.
Oh, okay. That sounds good.
Yeah.
It was good. It definitely was good.
Corn. For all you guys that's just now joining on my live, I appreciate y'all, and tap in and say hello. You know, don't just be looking with your looking eyes, but say something so I know you here because I see y'all.
Don't be creeping and not speaking. We don't get down like that here.
Period. I do want to say this before the show is over, though. Shout out to Lou. Happy birthday, princess. I love you.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Lou.
birthday, Lou. For you guys that don't know, that's Rolo's daughter, Lou. She's usually in the comments. She's probably somewhere asleep right now because she was trying to take a nap. She was trying to take a nap when we were talking to her. But today is her birthday, so shout out to Lou. Happy birthday, baby girl.
Happy birthday, baby.
Happy birthday, yeah.
And then tomorrow, my niece's birthday.
Yeah, our niece's birthday.
Our
yeah,
niece.
I think I need to accentuate that.
My bad. Our niece.
Because I'll take her over and she's my niece.
Tomorrow.
Yes,
I heard you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
What's
Jose
good,
said,
LaShawn? Hey, he said, what's good? Okay, now see somebody speaking. Okay.
see, and I
Mr.
can't.
Crash in the building.
What Jose said?
Where? I can't see him. Why can't I see his comments?
He's on mine. I don't think we can see each other's. Yeah. LaShawn says, what's up?
What's
Little
happening?
label, what up? What up to you?
I don't know why we can't see him. We're all on the same live.
I don't know, but we'll figure this out after we get off.
Yeah, because I need to be able to see. Tell him I said, hey.
She's trying to
Look,
get up
he's
here right
watching,
now.
y'all. Yes, but if y'all just tapping in, we talking about accountability and what it looks like.
Yes.
You know, we got to keep letting y'all know where we at because conversations with us, y'all, they go everywhere. But we trying to stay on track. But yes, we're talking about accountability. I asked the question, who do y'all think is more accountable? So on my live, if y'all want to put in the comments, which sex do you think is more accountable, men or women? And there's a lot of facets to this. There's a lot of layers to it. I like to say just generally, just on a, just a large general basis, who do you think? That doesn't mean in relationships and parenting. Generally, who do you think is more accountable, men or women? Let's see. Yeah. I do see what y'all are talking about though, because I feel like, just speaking and living and witnessing everything, I feel like women are more accountable in relationships. Women can be more accountable with parenting. But on a general, like overall, I still have seen more entitled women. And I feel like,
but you keep saying entitled. I don't feel like entitlement. They're not the same.
Come from not being accountable.
They're
How can you be entitled and accountable at the same time, though?
Entitlement feels like everybody owes you something. That's totally different than being held accountable.
But hold on. But but not being accountable creates more entitlement. You
Shalonda, can you do me a favor? Or do you
what?
have your other device in front of you?
Yeah.
Can you change your live over to public, please?
Real I can't hold on.
Yeah,
You
that's why
would
we
do
can't
that
see
in the
their
middle of the
comments.
show.
Well, that's why we
Yeah.
can't see their comments, and I'd rather, us be able to see everybody's comments.
I
So,
don't know how to do
Shalonda,
that right now.
oh, okay, all right. So we're just gonna move on.
Yeah.
We're just
Anyway.
gonna, it's fine.
Oh, I found something. Hold on.
Did you?
I
Yeah,
found
so you have to change it to public. That's why.
boom. Let's see. I did. Y'all,
Thank
she got
you.
me all off.
Sorry, y'all. I need to make sure that it's set up the correct way. Y'all know I'm the technical one. I got to make sure that we own here.
Okay, there we go.
Thank you. You're such a
Can you
sweet
see?
girl.
Now she trying to be funny, y'all.
No, I'm not. It's public. Thank you. Okay, we're on. Thanks. All right, moving back to the comments
All
here.
right.
Let's go see what they're saying now that we can see everybody's comments all together.
Okay. So you
You are
can
such
see.
a sweet girl.
You call me sweet girl one more time.
All right, so
Okay.
let's see. Michelle says, I agree. Women are, we carry more on our shoulders. Bree says, I agree with what was said earlier. It really depends on the individuals as far as who takes accountability more. Michelle says, I want Shay to know that I'm a daddy's girl. He always has my back, but if I'm wrong, I got to hear about it for at least a week.
Yeah, because you do have those fathers. I have those too. Them. That's why I say you have some of us that are definitely held accountable. Because my dads will definitely let me know.
Bree, so it's not two different lives and two different viewers because we have a platform that we use that streams to all of them at the same time, baby girl. Tanya says, I gotta go, need to call my mom and see how she's doing. All right, I love you, Tanya. Thanks for tuning in. Jose, Shay, I laughed so hard with that look you gave. Um, if
I
looks
can't see
Because
could,
my.
you couldn't see
if
the
looks could,
comments.
if looks could unalive, Shalonda would have just pew pewed you.
Yeah, because Ashley knows what's up. She knows Jose.
Oh, sweetie, don't get salty. Monica says, I feel like it depends on the situation we are speaking of. You have to know the background of someone to know who should be held accountable, but that's just my opinion. I mean, I don't think she's wrong. I really feel like, and that I've been saying that the whole time. Like, I really feel like it depends on the situation and the individual.
Yeah,
Accountability is such a wide topic. Like, we should have narrowed it down just a little bit because there's all kind of different accountability. You're going to talk about accountability in parenting, as a child, in a relationship, as a employee, a coworker, a friend. You know what I mean? Like, because I feel
but
like
that's
with
what
my
makes it
friends,
fun. Because we get to
I feel
talk
like
about all this.
We
I feel
do.
like in my past relationships, I wasn't accountable, but with my friends, I've always been. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? With my siblings, with my family. Shalana, I see you looking. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
She
You
always
ain't always
looking.
been accountable in this friendship.
Oh, girl, well, please let's
We
talk
have worked
about it.
through it. We have worked through it. We have worked it out.
Should
Oh,
I
But
just go?
in the
no,
past,
no, stay here, Rolo. I want everybody to say. So, what are we talking about? I don't care.
in the
She
past,
took a deep breath. Let's go.
remember we had this conversation, and in the past we had went through some things because you were trying to debo me, and you were not accountable at that moment because y'all, we family, so we done been through a lot. We family, period.
Yeah.
Yes, so we've been through a lot. But in the past, we went through some major stuff, and you were trying to debo me, and you would not, even when I talked to you about it and was like, Ashley, do you remember that? And you didn't remember.
Is that when
But
you pulled up in the yard and tried to fight me? You
yes.
pulled up and tried to fight me, bro.
No, because
What
of
are we
what you
talking about
did.
right now?
Because of what you did. I'm accountable because I was wrong, because I pulled up. But it started because you was trying to debo me about my kid.
Well, that's a whole listen, y'all. This
See?
whole topic. wait a minute, because it was deeper than that. We ain't gonna even talk about that. We'll talk about that off of here. But I'm telling you right now, it was deeper than that.
No, and actually it wasn't, Ashley. It was on
Mhm.
the surface of, we were actually just going back and forth about parenting.
Uh-huh.
And you were trying to debo me. And that was when we talked about it later on, you did not take accountability for it. And we worked through it. And then we was like, all right, it is what it is. And that happened way back when, boom. And so we did grow through it. We did get through it.
Y'all,
But at
Shalonda
first,
pulled up on me like 6 deep in the street, bro.
I didn't.
And I came outside.
Yo, she's lying.
That never happened, you guys. I'm lying right now. It didn't
Like a
happen like that.
like a mug.
But I
Come
mean,
on,
okay.
bro.
We have been able to get through so much, but you made that statement and said, I've always been accountable with my friends. And my face just was like, hold on. Because we done been through so much.
Out of how many years you can bring up one
Yes,
situation?
it's
And honestly, I felt like that
20,000 years.
situation, hold on, I felt like that situation, you weren't really being an accountable parent at the time. And so for me,
Yes, I was struggling with depression. So yes, I was.
okay. And so me being a good friend, I felt like I was doing the thing that I was supposed to do at the time.
It was out of
And so
love.
it was out of love. And at the time we didn't agree, and we couldn't agree to disagree because we was both hard headed.
So we
But
Yes.
had to fight
I
it
don't
out.
feel like that wasn't me being accountable. I felt like that was me loving you the only way I knew how, and
Well, see,
loving your child the only way I knew how.
now, but see, that's what I'm saying. Now that we're healed and now we can talk about it and we can say that. But back then, you didn't take no accountability of your actions of why it even
Because I
got there.
didn't know, because I would have never knew how to express that back then. We weren't in the mind space that we are to be able to express that. You know
Right.
what I mean? But now looking back at the situation and knowing like we both fell short quite a bit back then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And understanding that now I can say you're right, you know, like the way I went about it probably wasn't the right way. But I was, like I said, I felt like I was doing it out of love and the only way that I knew how to love, which we were raised off of aggression. You know what I
Right.
mean?
I know.
Like that's what we were raised off of. We were raised off of very much so like it is what it is, you know? And so that's the only way I really knew how to explain that to you back then. Versus me saying, okay, well, I feel this way and this way and this way at that time. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know how to
Right.
express that. But now being a grown woman, I can say I probably did go about that the wrong way, but I was just trying to look out for the
Right.
baby at the
Yeah.
time.
And that's why I say we grew through it, but I'm just only pinpointing on this statement of saying accountability. You said you've always been accountable with your friends,
I
and you
was.
and I have been in each other's lives since we was little, and we can't always say that. We
But
just
I
gonna
feel like, even in that situation, that was me being accountable not only for you, but for a
Baby.
child at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, it was a lot deeper. It was a lot deeper than that. That's a deep conversation for Facebook, but it was a lot
Yeah.
deeper than that. Just know, like, it had. You guys know I've always loved kids. I got a soft spot for kids. I always
And
have.
so y'all
And you
know I
was
did
my
not try to hurt my kid.
no. She
So
didn't try to hurt her
No.
kid. She definitely didn't try to hurt her kid. It was
I just
nothing
struggle
crazy.
with postpartum depression really bad. Like,
And she
and I can
was.
admit that I
And I
struggled
and
so
I
bad. I detached, and that was
and
my issue. I detached, and back then she was around. And to sum it up, at that time, I was a teen mom. Ashley and Gwen were the people that were around. And at that time, yeah, I felt like, okay, Ashley was doing too much. And like she said, at that time, we were young. So it's not like she was like, okay, I was able to articulate it. But that's what, at that time, I felt like you were doing too much. And when we had those conversations, we didn't necessarily see eye to eye. But like I said, now that we're grown and we've grown through it, it is what it is.
But do
But
you feel like right now at the age we're at right now and looking back, you still feel like I was doing too much, or do you understand where I'm saying like I was out of love? Like I was really just trying to make sure that I was there because I was young too, Shay, and I was
yeah,
there. You know what I
I know.
mean? The best way
Okay.
that I could be.
So being, to answer that question, being the grown version that we are now, I still will say yes, because now that we've both grown up, you wouldn't do that. So, and I will stand by what I said. So back
And you
then I
wouldn't
will
do
say
that either now. Like you're not even
I
the
know,
same
well, that's what,
character.
yeah, we're both different. We're both different. But
Yeah.
I'm saying just answering the question, I'll be honest, just answering the question, I will still say, yeah, it was doing too much, because if, let's just say, if that situation was the same now, I would have responded like totally different. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think if we were both in that situation now, we both will respond different. We would not respond the same. So, just answering it. Yeah, I still feel like it was too much even back then.
Okay. Heard.
See, you guys, this is healing and growth and learning. You know what I'm saying?
Look how Rollo does not want to be here no more.
That's not true.
Rollo is shooketh right now.
Hey,
No, you
no,
guys really like these are the
that
type
was
of
deep
conversations.
though. I love that shit. Like,
Yeah,
Thank
this is
you.
real.
why we
You
got to
know what I'm
show
saying? Like,
this. We got to
this is,
showcase this,
but we're family, so we can talk
Yeah.
like that. You know
Yeah,
what
that's
I
my
mean?
sister.
Like that's what I need the viewers to realize is like we're family. We talk like this regularly. This ain't nothing
Yeah.
new. Like
Yeah,
Right.
just because we're on live don't mean we're sugarcoating that. We're taking out a lot of the cuss words, but this is how we talk regularly. Like this
yeah,
is, you know what I mean? This isn't no made up stories or none of that stuff. This is what we do regularly. It's part of the healing. And
yeah,
Yeah.
we can't be as close as we are if we aren't fully transparent with each other.
yeah. And
And
I will say too, back then, like you guys gotta understand the woman that I was then and the woman that I am now, like for
they're
me,
not the same people.
that was all
Yeah.
gas no brakes. Like that was me
Yeah.
loving the way I knew how. And now like growing up and being the woman that I am now, like I understand that it's okay to back up and just be there for somebody from a distance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And understand
Yeah.
like you only have so much control.
Yeah.
Didn't
Yeah.
understand that back then, and so for me, like I felt like I could just do whatever or try to save, the world or whatever. And that's not how it
Right.
was. And Shay, like, I love you, girl. We done grew through
Yeah.
so much together. Like, and we've grown from that point in life being teenagers and young girls, like going through all of this mess out here and being out here in the streets just wilding to where we are today. And
Yeah.
and it's just like, looking back at that situation, like we've had that conversation, but I don't think that I knew that it ever bothered you to the point to where you felt that way. And so for us
Yeah.
to be able to have this conversation, and y'all, this is real and raw. None of this is scripted. Like this
Yeah.
literally wasn't a
Yeah.
part of it. You know what I mean?
For
Um,
sure.
I apologize. You know what I mean? And I love you. It is what it is. We're going to continue to grow into the women that we're supposed to be.
Well,
You know?
I love you too, y'all. And that was 22 years ago. I think what Taki is about to be 23. So
Yeah.
no, that was 23 years ago. She wasn't even one, I don't think.
No, she wasn't. She was a little bitty baby.
So yeah, so but
But see,
I love you too.
this
And
is a
it's me
part of
high to the
growth.
tree high, y'all.
This is a part of growth when we can talk about the hard stuff that bothers us. You know what I'm saying? Like even if it's amongst each other, yeah, we talk a lot about our childhood and what led us up to where we are right now. But there's still stuff that happened, that may have happened between one of us 3 years ago that now we're coming to light and we're talking about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you guys are seeing it firsthand because that's just a part of healing. Like healing never stops. It doesn't matter. There's no age limit. There's no expiration date on it.
Yeah.
Like you're
Yeah.
gonna be doing this for the rest of your life because life is still lifing, regardless of what happened in the past. There's still new things that may pop up. You know what I mean? But the good thing about that is we know how to handle it now because
Yeah.
we've been on our journey long enough to understand what it takes to be able to get through that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, my sisters lately have been through a lot, but they still here doing this because they feel like it's important that we put this message out there to our people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Most people would have laid down and just shut down for a while, but these two, they've been thugging it out, man. So I really need y'all to understand that these are two of the strongest women I've ever met in my whole entire life that I've ever known. Because, like I said, there's been a lot going on these last few weeks, man, and
Don't have me
for
crying
them.
on here, Rolo. You know I'm
So I'm just
emotional.
saying, for real, for them to get on here and do this, still knowing that they're dealing with so much, like I definitely applaud them, man, and like I'm proud of them, and I appreciate them more than anything in this world because most people would have just shut it down.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
our message is important. It ain't just about us; it's about all of us healing
Yeah.
together. And I'm happy that they're still here spreading
Yeah.
this message.
Yeah.
So big ups to y'all, man, for real. I love
Thank
both
you,
of
bro.
y'all.
Love you.
Yeah, I love you too. Okay, guys. So I think that we're going to start to wind down and wrap it up. We've been on for
Yes,
almost 2 hours. We try to keep it under 2 hours for you guys. Um, We do appreciate everybody tapping in and tuning in. I did just drop our YouTube and our TikTok in the comments. If you guys do not follow us on TikTok or YouTube, please do so. We do upload videos to both. We do stream live on YouTube too every week at 6 p.m. at the same time. So if you guys have friends or family that might want to tap in and they don't have Facebook, just share that YouTube out to them. They're more than welcome to jump on. We can see their comments here too. We appreciate you guys, always making sure that you guys come in and support. We appreciate all the interaction tonight, all the comments. We love hearing from you guys in the audience. We love that you guys share us out with other people on your Facebook so that we can get out there. Like we said, and we'll continue to say, we're not asking you guys for money. We're not asking you guys to support any other way other than sharing us out, making sure you get us out there and making sure the people that need to be here are here. But other than that, you guys, next week we will be talking about dun, da, da, da. Y'all ready? Oh, I'm not.
Really?
I had it pulled up. Listen, I had it pulled up,
No,
but I'm jumping back and forth from screen to screen to screen.
no, it was the
I got
trust.
you. I got you. Hold on. I'm about to tell y'all.
Yeah, because she's taking all day and I want to spit it out.
Listen, you guys, listen. It's because I jump. So I do all of the background work as far as like moving from screen to screen and stuff. Okay, so our next episode is going to be Broken Trust. Do you ever heal? So this is going to be a really deep and fun topic. It's all about trust, and not just trust in relationships. We're talking about trust as being a child, trust as being a parent, relationships, friendships, like trust in general. We're going to break that down. Do you ever heal from it? That's going to be the question next week. So I want you guys to think on that this week while you guys are waiting on next week's episode. Next week we'll be here Sunday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. We'll just keep that time. That's fine. So you guys make sure that you tap in. Any closing thoughts from either of you two before I close this out?
Okay.
Got something to say? Here she
Yeah.
Here she
My closing thought from me. Word of advice for all of you guys. No matter how hard accountability seems, it feels good and it's freeing. So always remember to look in that mirror because nobody can free you but you. And I hope y'all take heed to that. So
Accept accountability is a growth.
Yeah,
You grow from it.
you really do.
Yeah.
It is a treasure in itself, like learning how to be accountable and say that, hey, I was wrong, and grow from that. And not only just say, hey, I was wrong, but if you say, hey, I was wrong, you don't grow from it, you didn't take accountability.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
not taking accountability. So just know, like, when you say you're sorry and you grow from that, that's taking accountability. And then, yeah, those are my closing thoughts. I really don't. You guys?
No, that's all I had to
That's it.
say. Thank you guys for joining. Much love, peace, love, and light. I couldn't see everybody, but I appreciate all of y'all. And for the ones that definitely hopped on my page for my peoples, man, much love. I thank y'all for being there. I thank y'all.
Yes.
Thank
You
you
guys
guys so
remember
much.
that growth is a journey and not a race. Stay grounded, stay growing, and keep rising. Be well, be whole. And until the next time we see you guys, stay heightened and enlightened. We'll see you next week, 6 p.m.
Next
Central
week,
Standard
happy
Time,
healing.
right here on Facebook. Peace out, y'all.
Peace.
All right.